In Arkansas, survivors of recent tornadoes have been left without federal recovery aid after President Donald Trump declined the state's request to declare a major disaster in March. The Trump administration denied the request from Republican Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders for individual and public assistance, following severe storms and tornadoes that also impacted neighboring states Mississippi and Missouri, resulting in over 40 fatalities. This denial is part of a broader strategy by the Trump administration to shift the responsibility of disaster response and recovery from the federal government to individual states, as extreme weather events become more frequent and costly due to climate change. The challenge remains for states to address the financial gap traditionally filled by federal support, especially given the multi-state nature of many disasters. Both President Trump and Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem have expressed a desire to eliminate the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, which annually spends billions to assist individuals with temporary housing and rebuilding efforts after disasters. FEMA also provides public assistance to municipalities affected by disasters such as tornadoes, hurricanes, or wildfires. The rejection letter, dated April 11, stated that the Trump administration had assessed that the damage was not severe enough to exceed the capabilities of the state, local governments, and voluntary agencies. Consequently, they concluded that additional federal assistance was unnecessary. It remains uncertain whether Missouri and Mississippi will face similar denials. CNN has reached out to the governor's offices in those states for comments. The White House has not yet responded to CNN's request for clarification on the denial of Arkansas's disaster request. In 2023, former President Joe Biden approved a disaster declaration request for Arkansas following deadly tornadoes within 48 hours of the storms. As reported by CNN, billions in disaster aid were recently left untouched. Over $100 billion in previously awarded grant money and disaster assistance was frozen at FEMA for weeks while agency staff awaited guidance on issuing payments in accordance with Trump's executive orders that restricted funding for immigration programs and sanctuary cities. A source familiar with the situation informed CNN last month that FEMA has recently distributed most of its backlogged funds, and the temporarily frozen funding differs from individual disaster assistance funding. Governor Sanders has appealed the denial, stating in her letter to President Trump that the state and its citizens are in dire need of assistance to recover, rebuild, and mitigate further loss. She emphasized that without a major disaster declaration, Arkansas would face significant challenges in assuming full responsibility and achieving effective recovery from this event. In the absence of federal funding, volunteer organizations in Arkansas are stepping up to fill the gap, according to Lacey Kanipe, spokesperson for the Arkansas Department of Public Safety. Kanipe noted that the state has disaster recovery programs that provide a percentage of what FEMA may provide to survivors, but acknowledged it is difficult to quantify the difference between state support and potential federal assistance. Biden's FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell previously told CNN that FEMA's mission is not to replace first responders, but rather to support state and local jurisdictions with their needs. She added that they're the ones on the ground, emphasizing that FEMA aims to provide resources as quickly as possible.